Okay, folks, for this screencast, I'm going to talk about how to use method 3 for the circuit playground, except I'm going to have it so that it makes a new file every time you write it. I've had some students this semester who are like putting their circuit playground like in putting it like in an airplane or in a rocket, and one of the issues that they are having is that the file that they would write would constantly get overwritten, and sometimes it gets kind of mucked up. So I have another video where I walk through the entire method 3 process. So if this is like the first time you've heard method 3, like be sure to go in the link and look at that. Method 3 is where the data that you are taking gets logged to the file on the onboard memory. And so, like I said, make sure you take a look at that code. So I'm going to walk through method 3 real quick, just like super fast, just to make sure everybody's on the same page. So the idea is, if you open up the CircuitPy drive, you need to have a code.py Python script and a boot.py script. If you open up my GitHub and you go to microcontroller, circuit playground, CircuitPython data logging, boot.py is in there. You just download that and throw it in there. Okay, so the way it works is when you're opening up the serial monitor, I am in safe mode because I flicked it. When it just opens willy-nilly, it says not logging data. If I press the A button, you'll see that like second one, oh my goodness, you'll see that second column will go from a 0 to a 1. That's saying that I'm, measuring the button presses. This is a simple button press example code. Again, I'm not going to go through the code. I'm just going to do this real quick. So if I flip the switch to the B button, it's going to run this block of code here and freak out because file doesn't exist. But if I reset the device, it will restart the code. It will open the file. In this case, it's called method3.txt. I'll open it up and I'll hit the A button a few times. And then when I close the file, so I'm going to flip the switch the other way and then hit reset again, it's going to reset the device. And when I open up the serial monitor, it looks like it's running the code just like normal, but when my Windows Explorer opens, hopefully it'll do that in a second. Again, just try to open it. You'll see that there's a method3 file in here, and here's the data that I just took. Now, this is the problem that my students were telling me. If you flip the switch reset, you will overwrite the data that you already have. So, if you look at this file exist test script that I just wrote, I'm basically importing this module called OS, and then in here I'm running an OS stat of the file name, and if this function runs properly, it means the file exists. If the file does not exist, that line of code will throw an error, which is why this is in a try script, and then it will break out of that try script and say, hey, that file doesn't exist, I couldn't run the stats on it, and at that point the file does not exist, false. Okay, so what we need to do is create a loop here that says loop through existing files. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to initialize file exists as true, and we're going to just make a while loop that say while the file exists, I want you to create a file name, which is going to be, I'm going to call this data file, like that, plus, and then you're going to initialize a number to 0, and then you're going to do string of that number plus txt, and then I'm going to go ahead and say print checking for file name equals file name, just so we can see what's going on. And then I'm going to do that try statement, try, and I'm going to say OS stat file name, okay? And if that line of code runs, it means that the file still exists, so it's still true, and it means I need to increment the number counter by 1. Otherwise, if the file does not exist, that line of code is going to throw an error, which means the file doesn't exist. So I set file exists to false, and I'm going to say print file name found using file name. And then over here, I'm going to go ahead and say up here, if this line of code runs, I'm going to print this file exists. I'm going to print the file name. Once I break out of this while loop, all I need to do, instead of saying method 3, is say file name. Okay, I wrote this code completely on the fly. I have no idea if this works. Okay, so let's test it. Let's flip to the B button. We're going to get an error. We're going to reset, wait for us to remount, open up the serial monitor, and then unfortunately I can't tell. I wonder if we should put a pause. Let's put a time.sleep in here for like 5 seconds, just so I can't save it yet. Okay, so I'm going to flip to the A button. I'm going to hit reset, and then now that once it remounts, I'm going to go ahead and save this code so it waits for 5 seconds. And then if I open up the code, there is data file 0. Okay, so there's data file 0, and I can go ahead and delete method 3 because I'm not using that naming convention anymore. And then what I'm hoping is, if I, where are we? Okay, there we go. I was sleeping for 5 seconds. Let's put it here, print sleeping for 5 seconds, just so I know, like, hey, it's okay. Not opening file for writing, sleeping for 5 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and flip to the B button. I'm going to hit the reset button. And now the code should wait for 5 seconds, which should give us a long enough amount of time to, oh no, man, we missed it. I wonder if we need to put the time.sleep. We probably do. It's too late now, so I'm going to go ahead and hit the A button a couple times. At this point, I want to see if at least this part works. I'm going to flip back to the A button and hit reset, and then let's have it'll auto mount again, continuous auto scanning, and I should have. Darn it, did not work. Okay, yeah. So I need to move my sleep for 5 seconds up here. Did I import OS? Dude, I didn't even import OS. That's why it wasn't working. Okay, so I didn't import OS, so it threw an error. It threw an error right away, and it was like, I'm just going to overwrite it. It's the problem with try statements. Okay, so I've put the sleep up here, and then put the sleep up here, and then I'm going to flip the switch to the B button. I'm going to hit this guy. So now when it remounts, I should hopefully have time to see it. Okay, there we go, sweet. So how do I turn off auto scroll? You know, that would be fantastic. Is there a settings, CircuitPy? I guess I could hit, no, I don't want to do that. How about, I'm going to put, okay, well, it's too late now. So I'm going to flip the switch to the A button, hit reset. After I get the file, I'm going to do another time.sleep. So I'm going to do print sleeping for another 5 seconds. Okay. Oh, dude, it totally worked. There's a data file 0, and then there is a data file 1. This is awesome. Okay, so we should be able to see it this time. Time.sleep 5.0. Okay, so we're going to, it's sleeping for 5 seconds, and then sleeping for another 5 seconds, and then it's going to start doing this thing. Okay, then we're going to flip to the B button. It's going to throw an error. We're going to hit reset, and then we should have 5 seconds to open up the serial monitor. It's currently sleeping for 5 seconds. Then it's going to check for the file name, and look at that. That's awesome. Data file 0 exists, data file 1 exists, data file 2, bam. And so now, if I hit the A button, it should be writing the data file 2, and then if I flip the switch the other way and close the file and hit reset, I should have data file 2 in there. And I'm going to wait till it auto mounts, click this guy, continue on scanning, and then if I click data file 2, there should be some 1s and 0s in there showing that I hit it, but then data file 1 is preserved with no button presses because I didn't press it on that data file. Same with data file 0. And there you go, bing, bang, boom. Now every time you log data, you will open up a new text file. And so I'm going to push this to the GitHub, and I will post a link in the comments below where it is. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a great day. See you in the next video.